A demonstration or illustrated talk is a method used to communicate an idea by showing and telling. Demonstrations should be 5 to 15 minutes long for both junior and senior 4-H members. Visual aids are used to enhance the presentation. There are 3 parts of a 4-H demonstration: the introduction, body, and conclusion. In the introduction, you introduce your subject using a story, quote, or joke. It should be short and designed to get the attention of your audience. Tell the audience what you're going to demonstrate and why that topic is important to them. The body is the most important part of your demonstration. Review key points and materials. This is the how-to portion of the demonstration. In the conclusion, you summarize your main points. Use a story or quote to express your point. Finish strong with an attention-grabbing statement, question, or wrap-up thought. The following steps will help you prepare to give a demonstration. Choose a topic. Find a subject that you know something about or that is of interest to you. Make sure your topic is not too broad. Select a title. Think of a title that relates to the subject and is catchy, original, and short. It should suggest the subject without telling the whole story. Collect information. Think about what you already know about your topic. What examples do you know that will illustrate your demonstration? Is there a poem, a song, or a joke that you can use to make the point clear? Why is the topic important? Organize your materials. Separate your materials and ideas into 3 parts, in the introduction, body, and conclusion. Make note cards. Do not write your entire demonstration on cards. Have only the main points and keywords written down. Note cards should help you organize your speech, but should not be a distraction. Create visual aids. Make sure your aids are easy to read and add interest to your project. And finally, practice. Give your demonstration in front of a mirror and in front of friends and family. Here are some tips when delivering your demonstration. Make eye contact. Look directly into the eyes of your audience during your demonstration. Look at people in various parts of the audience. Use good posture. Stand in a comfortable position with your feet several inches apart and your back straight. Project your voice. Speak loudly and clearly enough for all to hear. Try to sound conversational. Do not yell or talk too softly. When using gestures, try to be natural and relaxed. Emphasize important points. Pause just before and after them. You may also change your tone of voice. When using quotations, give full credit to your source and pause before and after so the audience knows where the quote begins and ends. Do not write your entire demonstration on cards. Do not read from your note cards. Refer to your cards for the main points you want to make. Dress appropriately for your audience and topic. Visual aids should be visible to the audience. The more equipment, extension cords, utensils, and other materials you use, the more you must practice and experiment. The following suggestions will help you plan your demonstration. Select the best possible piece of equipment for the job and make sure that it is in good working order. Arrange each piece of equipment in the order you plan to use it. Make sure your audience can see all visual aids. Be careful not to let equipment or supplies block the line of vision between your audience and your hands. Posters add a visual interest to your 4-H demonstration. Limit your posters to 3 or 5. They must add interest and excitement. Words should be large enough for everyone to see, including those in the back of the room. Usually 1 inch high is a good standard rule to go by. Each poster must have one main idea. Use heavy cardboard that won't buck or bend during your demonstration, and use color to add interest. Here are some poster ideas: your title, your key points, a listing of ingredients or materials, and a summary of your 4-H demonstration. Here is a sample demonstration from 4-H'er Miranda.
I'm sure all of you remember the ice storm and snow we had in February. You probably had to figure out many ways how to stay warm. One of my favorites is to grab a quilt and read a book. Hi, my name is Miranda Bonta. Today I'll show you how to make part of a quilt called a 4-patch block. Depending on the size of the quilt, Many of these 4-patch blocks will be made. To make a 4-patch block, you will need these items: scissors, sewing machine, thread, 2 pieces of fabric, square up ruler, safety glove, wooden arm, cutting mat, straight pins, and a rotary cutter. You'll need to follow these steps to make a 4-patch block. Step 1. Using a square up ruler and a rotary cutter, cut a 3-inch strip from each piece of fabric. Step 2. Place the fabric right sides facing. Step 3. Sew a 1/4 inch seam along the right edge. Step 4. Using a wooden arm, press the seam toward the darker piece. Step 5. Using the rotary cutter and ruler, cut 2 3-inch pieces from the strip set. Step 6. Place the pieces right sides together and sew using a 1/4 inch seam. Step 7. Using the arm, press the seam to the side. Step 8. Using a square up ruler, check to see that you have a 5.5 inch block. When selecting fabrics for a 4-patch block, I like to choose contrasting colors. Colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel work great. I've selected these 2 colors for this demonstration. I also selected these because I love these 2 colors together. First, cut a 3-inch strip from each piece of fabric. Put on your safety glove. Want to keep those fingers for later use. Get your first piece of fabric, lay it on your cutting mat. Line up the 3-inch line on your ruler with the edge of the fabric. Check your ruler position, open your rotary cutter, and cut the end. Remember to close your rotary cutter. Lay it aside and get your next piece. Repeat that step again. Line up the 3-inch line, check your ruler position, open your rotary cutter, and cut. Sometimes you don't always get it in the first swipe, so do it again. Remember to close your rotary cutter. Take the 2 pieces, place them right sides together, and sew a 1/4 inch seam. I call the right sides of the fabric the pretty sides. I like to use an extra guide on my sewing machine even though the machine has a guide built on it. I've placed this guide 1/4 inch from the needle. This assures me that my seam allowance is accurate. I'm using matching thread for this project. I have my machine set on 2.0, which is about 15 stitches to the inch. Raise the pressure foot and put one end of the fabric just below the needle and lower the needle. When sewing my seams, I always start by the needle down. I hold the threads and gently hold as I begin to sew. This helps to prevent tangling of the thread. Every now and then, you will need to stop and check and make sure your fabrics are still lined up good. Then, just continue your sewing with your needle down. Continue sewing until you reach the end of the strip set. And again, stop and check and make sure everything is still lined up. Then continue your sewing. Raise the pressure foot and cut the thread. Take your wooden arm and press the seam toward the darker side. At home, I like to use a hot iron. I first set the seam by setting the iron on it a second or 2. Then I open it up and press it toward the darker piece. Put it on the cutting mat. Take your ruler and line up an edge of your ruler with the seam in the middle. Put back on your safety glove. You still need your fingers. Open back up your rotary cutter and cut the end off your strip set. This will give you a clean end to measure your first cut from. Flip the strip piece and realign it with the line on the cutting mat. Again, use your 3-inch line on your ruler and cut a block. Make sure you have it lined up good and cut your first piece. And firm hold on the rotary cutter helps you cut better. Remember to close your rotary cutter. Lay it aside and get your next piece. Repeat that step for cutting another 3-inch block. Always remember to check your ruler position before you cut. Let me get it lined up good. And cut. It's taking me a little bit. Remember to close your rotary cutter at all times. Take the 2 cut pieces, place them right sides together, but opposites like this. Whenever you are aligning the edges, you can feel the previous sewn seams locking together. And when you feel the seams lock and there's no humps or bumps in between them, you can take one of your straight pins and pin it in the middle. But make sure that there's no humps or bumps. This will help to prevent your seam coming undone whenever you are sewing it. Place it under the pressure foot. Lower the pressure foot and again lower your needle and hold on to the threads as you start to sew. Whenever you come to the straight pin, take it out. Then continue your sewing. Why you take out the straight pin is because if the needle went over it, your straight pin could break or your needle could break and it could go flying anywhere. Also take this one and lay it on the cutting mat. This time take your wooden arm and press it toward any side. Because earlier, you know, I said press it to the darker side, but this time you can press it to any side. And again, at home I like to use a hot arm on this, but these wooden arms are quick and handy. I like to use the square up ruler to check and see if I have an accurate 5.5-inch block. So let's see how I did. Looks like I did pretty good. This is my 4-patch. Remember, these are the supplies you will need to make a 4-patch block. Scissors, sewing machine, thread, 2 pieces of fabric, square up ruler, wooden arm, safety glove, cutting mat, straight pins, and a rotary cutter. Remember, these are the steps you will need to follow to make a 4-patch block. Step 1. Using a square up ruler and a rotary cutter, cut a 3-inch strip from each piece of fabric. Step 2. Place the fabrics right sides facing. Step 3. Sew a 1/4 inch seam along the right edge. Step 4. Using a wooden arm, press the seam toward the darker piece. Step 5. Using the rotary cutter and ruler, cut 2 3-inch pieces from the strip set. Step 6. Place the pieces right sides together and sew using a 1/4 inch seam. Step 7. Using the arm, press the seam to the side. Step 8. Using a square up ruler, check to see that you have a 5.5-inch block. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Just down the street, 120 calories.